And so it begins, just as predicted. Everybody on team Forget Them Both has foreseen this, and now it has come true. Instant karma, as H3H3 has begun to lose sponsors. Now, every single time I cover this topic, these videos are getting massively downvoted. My question is to you in the comments, is it because I'm not picking a side, or is it because you just don't want the topic at all? I mean, because I look through the comments and I don't really see any like top rated comments of people like strongly disagreeing with my take, but the views aren't there. So I'm guessing that it's that my audience isn't interested, but I'm curious what you have to say. And look, I'm trying to approach this as objectively as possible. I'm not here to represent Keemstar or H3H3. I prefer to take the position of the rest of the YouTube community. And I do have probably a bigger interest in this because many of my friends here on YouTube, Count Dankula, Sargon, these are people that rely exclusively on sponsorships for ad revenue. So I suppose if you're a YouTuber and everyone around you is family friendly, and you're never worried about getting demonetized or you know, things like that, like I do, maybe that's not a big concern for you. But I'm trying to explain why this is such an important issue to me. My channel will eventually lose its monetization rights, and sponsorship deals are the only thing that I'll have once that happens. And it's just the future for anybody that isn't a how-to channel or family-friendly type channel. I also have a lot of the quote-unquote wrong opinions, and I also have some wrong opinions too. But this is a big deal to me, and I'm going to try to illustrate, maybe better this time, why I'm on team Forget Them Both. Because last night, we now have H3H3 confirming. Now, H3H3 confirmed two scares that they did get dropped by Old Spice. So we have Ethan Klein bringing up G Fuel in the video and G Fuel dropping Keemstar. Ethan Klein's defense is the same defense as any YouTube flagger uses. I didn't do this to you. You did this to you. Okay, you're probably right. And maybe I'm just biased because I'm a YouTuber. I feel like there's this kind of unwritten rule that not everybody complies with, and that's okay. But there's this kind of unwritten rule that you don't go after somebody's earnings. And YouTuber Eddie Burback put out a comment yesterday, or a tweet that went pretty, you know, obviously had a lot of people agreeing with it. So maybe I'm on the wrong side of this. He said, "Who decided that YouTube sponsorships were this untouchable sacred thing? I would understand if AdSense or Patreon or PayPal, but sponsorships, especially for wealthy YouTubers, why is this question some new rule that you could never call in, some new rule where you can never call into questions the ethics of sponsoring somebody?" Well, I'm not aware of your content. I assume you have a gigantic YouTube channel if you don't care like this. You have, oh geez, you have 30,000 followers on Twitter. You're probably a gigantic YouTube channel. Let me explain why I disagree with this. Because AdSense, Patreon, or PayPal, it's all the same thing, dude. It's all the same thing. So if they were brigading his PayPal or his Patreon, then you would disagree with it? No, it's all the same thing. And for many YouTubers, sponsorships are the only way that they can make money. And this will send ripples through the entire sponsorship industry, which is what I've been talking about. He then goes on to reply, "Every reply about small YouTubers seems to be this hypothetical world that I haven't seen exist yet. What small creators are getting big sponsorship deals and being attacked to get those removed? I don't see that becoming a thing, guys." Again, I believe, no disrespect, you're wildly missing the point here. The point is, when you have these sponsorship wars, this kind of stuff happens. Somebody tweets out last night, hey, Old Spice, I took down your website until you can properly explain and bring back Ethan Klein. So you're a big brand, or any brand. For example, this happened with Ridge Wallet, who is not Old Spice by any stretch of the imagination. But this happens with Old Spice. Old Spice social media gets spammed for days by people who are anti-Keem or pro-Keem or pro-Ethan, and then some idiot takes down their website. What is the likelihood that they're going to be extremely interested in sponsoring more YouTubers? I think you could agree with me that their interest in it would likely be negatively affected. Maybe they would continue on the way they are, but there's at least a chance that they will peel back, okay? The same thing happened to Ridge Wallet, a much smaller sponsor, and they absolutely sponsor channels. You go on to say, I didn't get a real sponsor deal until I had 150,000 subscribers. Well, that's not true anymore, dude. Ridge Wallet sponsors a lot of smaller channels. And on top of that, remember that to you, 150,000 subscriber channel is huge or large. But remember that there are a lot of YouTube channels out there that will never get monetization and will need sponsorship backing at all levels. So you have Old Spice getting this negative backlash, Ridge Wallet getting this negative backlash, and then you have other sponsors considering dipping a toe into the sponsorship pool that are looking at this and saying, I don't want this. I don't want this mess. And so, of course, other YouTubers are going to be affected by this, regardless of their size. And I don't believe that you can say attacking a sponsor is somehow different than going after someone's Patreon or AdSense or PayPal or Subscribestar. It's all the same thing. And you attack their Patreon, right? And then all of a sudden, what happens? We saw this happen with Patreon a few years ago, where people didn't like a particular content creator. And then all of a sudden, they banned everybody who they deemed to be too far right. Because one or two YouTube content creators were on there that were garbage humans. They started banning people left and right, small, large, regardless of size. It didn't matter. And where did that come from? It came from YouTube hate mobs about Patreon platforming the wrong person. I think it was Richard Spencer or something back then, or somebody like him. All right. So these things have a ripple effect that affect people who had nothing to do with it. And that's why it's important. That's why I'm pushing back at it. And we can see Keemstar doing everything he can to totally not tell people to do this. Keemstar is absolutely fueling the flames of this sponsorship battle. People saying spam Zoomies because Zoomies sells Teddy Fresh. Keem says, please do not. Of course he means do it. You've got Boycott Zoomies. You've got, you've got this guy here and YouTube sponsorships now, a troll account that's going, spamming these sponsors. So again, now Keem, of course Keemstar knows by doing this, his backers are going to go do it. It's like when I say, definitely don't retweet this. Of course I want people to retweet it. But I mean, ultimately, it's still the actions of the people that do or don't do it. But Keemstar is absolutely endorsing this. If he didn't want people to spam Zoomies, then he wouldn't have retweeted it. He would have blocked it. Or he would have replied directly to them and called them, called them out. Instead of retweeting it and acting like, oh, I never could have possibly thought this. Again, him retweeting Hotep Albania with Old Spice's response. Told you guys not to do this. Please don't go after any sponsors. Yes, you do. What you want, my friend, is plausible deniability. You want to be able to stand there and say, I never endorsed this. Retweet. Retweet. Definitely don't do this, guys. You have Old Spice saying, hi, we wanted to follow up and assure you that Old Spice is a brand committed to equality across race, religion, gender, and orientation. And we object to bias of any kind. We have taken immediate action to terminate the partnership. Okay, so H3 is confirmed gone. And this is what I'm talking about, people that don't think it's a big deal. And are activating the appropriate steps to ensure this does not happen again. What does that mean? That means that they're going to use more discretion before they sponsor people. Maybe they're not going to sponsor people anymore. Maybe they're only going to sponsor. They're not going to give somebody else the same chance that they gave H3H3 and all sorts of issues like that, okay? I mean, you can see The incel fans of Ethan Klein are coming after me, and since being laid off and stuck at home the last 3 months, I'm in dire need of help. I don't have any sponsors. Oh, give me money. Oh, okay. You know, yes, okay, this person appears to be against, it needs to be apparently pro Keemstar or anti H3H3. Again, I am against both of them. These are two millionaires that are going to be totally fine, that are shaking up the entire sponsorship landscape. I think it is extremely short-sighted to tweet things like, well, this isn't a big deal for small creators, because that is not looking into the future where creators like myself, It's a Gundam, Sargon, Bearing, Count Dankula, all of us rely almost exclusively on sponsorship deals to provide, and there are literally thousands of channels like us. So imagine what things are going to be like in 5 years when you have maybe 1,000 mid-level channels that need sponsors. It's going to be 50,000 channels that need that. As YouTube continues to tighten up, advertisers continue to pull out. This is the future of YouTube ad revenue for a lot of creators, and to throw it by the wayside over a petty argument between two millionaires is extremely short-sighted and damaging to the entire platform. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.